Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss for minimum sample size if two groups proportion is given, comparison of two proportions or comparison of two prevalence. So for that, we need to understand some basic requirements to calculate sample size requirement for comparing proportions of an event between two groups. Group may be treatment group and control groups. So required inputs are anticipated prevalence of event in group 1 is given P1, and for prevalence of event in group 2 is given P2, and value of the normal deviate as we know at considered level of confidence z1 minus alpha by 2 for two-sided test and z1 minus alpha for one-sided test. So these are the inputs required for calculating minimum sample size. And if we are going to compare two groups, for two groups, we are going to calculate minimum sample size. So power of the test is very important. So it would be the Z1 minus beta, we can notify it. So accordingly, minimum sample size may be calculated as formula we need to understand. So for two-sided test, we need to use this formula Z1 minus alpha by 2 for two-sided under root 2p within a bracket 1 minus p plus power of the test Z1 minus beta within a bracket p1 1 minus p1 plus p2 1 minus p2 and whole square, where P equal to P1 plus P2, P1 plus P2 divided by 2. That is the P. Here in denominator P1 minus P2 whole square. This is formula for two-sided, and for one-sided, same formula will use, only difference is Z1 minus alpha, and here power of the test would be same, and here P1 1 minus P1 plus P2 1 minus P2 P1 minus P2 whole square, and here P equal to P1 plus P2 divided by 2. So this two formula is important for calculating minimum sample size. So for that we have an example. We try to calculate the minimum sample size. So, like for example, children attending public schools have expected dental problem among them as 80%. In another group of the children attending government municipal corporation school, so 70% are expected to have this problem. So, how many children should be included from each group to determine whether this difference is significant at 5% level if we wish to have 80% of detecting the difference if it is real. So this is the problem given. Now we need to understand the calculation. So for calculation, first of all, we need to what are the givens in the question. So P1 is given 0.8 and P2 is given 0.7. So P1 and P2 is given. So P equal to P1 plus P2 divided by 2, and it is 0.75. And for normal deviate for two-sided is given 1.96, and normal deviate for one-sided is 1.68 as we know, and power of the test is 80%. So value would be the 0.842. So formula as we know, required formula Z1 minus alpha by 2 P1. So same formula as we explained in the previous slide, we have to put, and P we have to calculate P1 plus P2 and we can find out we have to put the value here, all the value we need to put here, and then we'll get the sample size 294. So that means at least 294 children should be included from each group. Accordingly, round figure we can take 295 children from each group may be included in the study. So this is for two-sided test calculation. If suppose we have one-sided test, then already is given, P1 is given, P2 is given, and P equal to P1 plus P2 divided with 2, it is already given, and Z alpha normal David value is 1.64, power of the test 80%, so Z 1 minus beta value is 0.84. So the required sample size, we know the formula already. So in formula, we have to put the value here, P equal to P1 plus P2 divided by 2, as we know. Just put the value, all the values we need to put, and we can find out the minimum sample size 233. That means at least 233 children should be included from each group. Accordingly, 235 children from each group may be included in the study. So this is the basic concept for calculating minimum sample size. If we have two groups and proportion